Hi, my name is Sharon, and I'd like to show you how to create a chart on the Miro Counter app, and also how to import it into a project. So first we'll create the chart, and the chart will actually be available to us for any project. It's kind of a global tool. So I go into Tools. I'm now going to press on Charts. And at the bottom right, I'm going to click on the plus sign that says Create Chart from Scratch. I can then select the craft. I'll select knitting here, and I'm just going to call it OK. And I'm going to choose the dimensions of 8 lines by 12 columns. Of course, you'll do whatever is relevant for you. And you can choose work flat or in the round. I'll leave it as work flat. Okay, now you have a grid. I'm going to adjust the size. You have on the upper right, you have a place where you can zoom in or zoom out. So I'll kind of zoom it to make it a convenient size. And then you'll see below the grid, you'll see two rows. You'll see a row that kind of shows you what is now relevant, and below it will show you options. Right now, your only option is this square, white square, which is represents stockinette stitch. You can see on the top row under the grid, by that square, it says right side knit, wrong side purl, and you can actually press on the I, and it tells you in words. Okay, but obviously we might want more symbols, okay? If we're not just working in stockinette stitch. So what we will do is we will press the plus, and when the plus comes up, you'll see a whole long line of symbols that you can add, symbols that you might want to use for this project. It's very helpful if you know if you know in advance which symbols you want to use for your project, because when this opens up, it doesn't tell you what each symbol means. It will only tell you what the symbol means after you've chosen it. So I happen to know what some of these symbols are. So I want, for example, reverse stockinette. And now that I've chosen it, it does tell me that the right side purl, wrong side knit. And if I click on the little I next to that square, it kind of tells me in words. Okay, so then I can keep adding. Again, I'm going to click on the plus, and I'm going to add yarn over, and I'm going to add knit two together. And now suppose there's a symbol that doesn't appear here. You know, I can, let me just show you. There are also symbols that go over several rows. Okay, what if there's a symbol that doesn't appear here? So if I go to the very end, I can create my own symbols with the plus. Now it already shows me some symbols that I've created. For instance, there was no symbol for garter stitch when you just knit all rows. So that's a black dot. I created this. So now I can use it again. And you see it says knit. If I press on information, it says knit right side, knit wrong side. And I also created, for example, this one, knit three together, little triangle. And it says right side, knit three together, wrong side, purl. I can open it up. This is information that I typed in. And so that's how you can use ones that you created. How do you create? You press on the plus and you get this grid. The default is one cell length width, but you can make it wider. And then you just click on each square that you want to make black, and you create the symbol that you want to use. Okay. Say this is what you wanted to use is your symbol. When you scroll down, you can click and add information. What do you want to appear on the right side? What do you want to appear on the wrong side? And you can also give a description in words. It's a very good idea to do this because, later you might create a symbol and forget what it was. And then you would push save. Now, I don't want to save this. I was just doing this as a demonstration. So I'm going to click the upper left arrow for back. And then it will ask if it's okay to discard the changes, or do I want to save it? I don't want to save it. I will click on OK, discard changes. So here on the bottom, you can see the various symbols that you want to use. Okay, I also press, now there's a, if you open up, um, if you press on no color, then you won't see the little circles for color. So right now I'm going to work without color. Later, if you want to work with color, you press on color and you also have an option of choosing colors. But right now I'll keep it on no color. And here are my symbols. Now, as you click on that bottom row, you get a little blue square around the symbol that you now want to use. And also on the row just below the grid, it will show you what symbol you've chosen. So right now, for example, there's a blue square around yarn over, and just below the number 10 there, you can see the yarn over. That is the square that is now relevant. So anywhere I press now, say I press on here on 610, now I've just put a yarn over there. Okay, now I'm going to press on knit two together, and I'm going to, next to that yarn over, I'm going to click and I'll get my knit two together. Now I want to put in some reverse stockinette, so I will click on my second square, and you can see on the row just before the grid, it now shows the that symbol for reverse stockinette, and everywhere I click, I'll get reverse stockinette. If I click on my cable, and I'm going to put it up here, you can see it goes over the 3 stitches. And let's also put in some garter stitch, and again you see it's knit just below the grid. You see it changed under the number 10. You see it, that's the relevant one now. If I press, that's what I'm going to see. Now it remembers what you did, and if I go out and go back in, it will remember this chart. The only thing it will not remember are any symbols I haven't used. I used, I think, every symbol here except for the knit 3 together. Now if I go out, here it is, okay. I go back in, it remembered my chart, but because I didn't use the knit 3 together, that disappeared. Of course, I can still add it back in if I want, if I need it, but it will only remember the symbols that you actually use. So that's how you create your chart. Now, so far we worked without, oh, I just want to show you also there is a, let me add 2 more things here. And then there's a undo feature. So I can click and click. Okay, since the last save, I only added 2 things. I can only click back twice. The other way you can undo things is just click on the white square, and anything that you want to erase, you just you just turn it back into a white square. Okay, so that's how you create your chart. Now so far we did everything without color. If you want color, you press on the no color and all your colors come up. And now you can decide what color you want to use for a particular square, but make sure you pay attention. It will fill in the color with the symbol that is chosen, that you have marked. So if, for example, I click here on my reverse stockinette and I click on blue, now you see reverse stockinette in blue. So I can make this reverse stockinette in blue, reverse stockinette in blue. But if I press here, it also turns into reverse stockinette, because it will always input a symbol and a color. Whatever symbol and color appear just under the grid, that's the one it will use. If I want here under those 2, if I want to go back to stockinette, I click on the stockinette and in blue, and anything now I press will be, whoops, anything now I press should be blue stockinette. Yeah, there it goes. Okay. Obviously, if I want to change to a different color, I click and I can create a different color. Here I'm doing it all in stockinette. Okay, and let's say I wanted red garter, so it's still in red. I click on garter, and now I can make red garter stitches. If I want to change it to a different color, change it to yellow. I'm going to stay in garter stitch here and make yellow garter stitch. And that's how you create your charts. Okay, so I have this really ridiculous chart that that has but it's just a demo. So I'm going to go out, and here's my chart, my OK chart. Now let's go into a project. I created an OK scarf, and I already created a secondary counter of 8, because that's what I want to use for my chart. That will be a little bit convenient. And at the lower right, it says import pattern. So I'll click on the lower right, import pattern. And one of my options, at the top row at the right, is to create chart. So I click on create chart. And here I am. Here are my charts. But now, next to my chart, there's a little symbol, a blue symbol on the right of the chart that tells me that I can use it. I can download it. So I'm going to click on it. Now it offers me a chance to import or make a copy and import. My suggestion is always make a copy and import. It never hurts to have another copy of something. And I'll explain later why it's a good idea to have another copy. But for now, just make a copy and import. So here's my chart, okay? And I can, in the lower right-hand corner, I can make it a little bit smaller. Oops, didn't want that small. I can make it a size that's convenient for me to use. Okay, maybe we'll make it even. Now, if I click on the first square of a line, that line is highlighted. So here's my row 1. Now, let's say I've knit a row, so I'm going to click my row counter to row 2. And now I'm going to click on the first square in line 2, and it will be highlighted. Now row 3, and I will click on the first square of row 3, and it's highlighted. So this is very nice. You do have to click twice. And the other thing that is when you get to the end, right? I've gotten to row 8, say. And now when I get to row 9, I want to start my pattern again at row 1. That's my secondary counter. I have to manually scroll down again to row 1. Okay, so that's the only disadvantage of this using the chart this way is that I have to click twice. Okay, I have to click once to go forward, and once, of course, the secondary counter will show me what row I should be clicking on to highlight the row. Now, when you use this method, you can actually, wait, I just want to show you what I did. I pressed on the lower right-hand corner where I can see things that I imported. And then there's a little pen here in the upper right-hand corner. I can actually make changes in the chart now. Now, this is why it's good that I had a copy. Because if I make a change in the chart now, okay, notice I added 3 garter stitches here to the top. Okay, so they are in my pattern. They're in my pattern here. But if I go back to my tools, I have 2 copies of OK. Okay, one of them has this change that I made in my project. The other one didn't make the change. This is like the global version of the chart. That's why I always like to have a copy, because this enables you to keep one copy of the original chart, but also to make changes in the chart when you're within a specific project. I hope that wasn't too confusing. If I go back to my OK scarf, right, I can see those 3 garter stitches that I added in the chart that is attached, that I have imported to this particular project. Okay, but if I make a change here, I'm not going to make a change in the original because I made a copy. Okay, that's the way you use this. There is one other way to import the chart. You can import it as a picture, and then you can get you can arrange that the rows highlight automatically. But if you do that, you won't be able to make changes in the chart within the pattern. You'll just have to use the picture that you made, and you won't be able to make changes in it. I'll show you how to do that in another video. I hope that this was helpful. Bye.